And we are live. Bonjour, friends. Bonjour, bonjour. Cynthia here. How are you doing? Happy Tuesday. Yes, I got it right today. Today is Tuesday. I remember the day. How is everyone doing? Good morning. Happy Tuesday morning. Bon dia. Bon dia. Buenos dias. Greetings to you from wherever you are watching in the world. Welcome to The Crowned Voice, another episode of The Crowned Voice. I am the queen of Pageant Talk, Reine Cynthia. And today we have a very special guest. Her name is Sandi Glant. She was Mrs. International 2020, I believe, yes, it's 2022, the year that I competed. So if you are a woman who competes in pageants, I encourage you to relax and get ready to be inspired and motivated and get some insider tips on winning. And if you know someone who competes in beauty pageants, I encourage you to share this live with them as well. So let's see if our guest is here. International 2022. We are going to talk about winning, pageantry, strategies, etc., etc. And there she is.
Hello, how are you?
I am wonderful, Sandi. How are you?
So good. It's so good to see you.
It's been a long time.
Oh my gosh, too long.
Too long. How is everyone?
So good. The boys are back in school. I finally have like a normal schedule again and traveling and all the things. So life is good.
And you call that a normal schedule?
Yeah. You know, I guess it's always evolving. So it's always the new normal.
Well, Sandi, thank you for accepting my invitation, for being here.
Of course.
And today, our conversation is about Mrs. International, your work with Slay Your Day, your work with Busy Moms. And for those of you that don't know, I met Sandi at International Pageant 2 years ago. It's already 2 years. We immediately connected.
Yeah.
We were taking each other's content
Yeah.
and just having a very good time. I believe that was your very first pageant.
It was.
So
It
tell us,
was.
what made a life coach, a strategist for women jump into the pageant arena?
Yeah. So, you know, when I was, this is again back in 2022, when I was approached with the opportunity, I did not know the first thing about pageantry. I mean, I knew that there were all these beautiful women, but I had no idea really like what went into it, the work that had to go in. You know, I'm always looking, and I'm sure you're the same, which is again why we connected so well. Like, I'm always looking for that next best version of myself. I'm always every day crafting her, like getting up. I was telling you just before we hopped on here, I get up at 5 in the morning to work out. I'm reading. I'm always investing in that next best version of myself. And when I was presented with the opportunity to compete, at first I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have any time. Like, how can I do this? I'm so busy with the kids and work and travel and my hubby and all the things. But then, you know, I thought about it, and it was one of those kind of like bucket list items for me. But I also knew that, like, again, because I'm always wanting to evolve and grow and become the next best version of myself, it's something that I talk about, but I also do it. Like, I'm doing the work.
Right.
And it was an opportunity for me to really unpack and uncover this new next level of myself. So I was like, you know what? I've never done it before, but I'm going to challenge myself to show up and go for something that I've never done and get outside my box of comfort.
You were competing, I was there, with women who were well seasoned. I mean, pageant professionals.
Yes.
These women were like the top tier in pageantry.
Yes.
You know, that's the type of contestants that International
Yeah.
brings. How did you feel? Were you at all intimidated? Not okay. So let's not use the word intimidated. Were you? Because I know you're not intimidated. Were like apprehensive? Did you say, like, what was going through your head?
So, you know, it's interesting because I feel like women in general, like, from childhood, you know, you grow up and you're like, there's the cool crowd, and then there's like the girls that you want to be friends with, and you're not quite sure if you're going to fit in. I felt like going in because I knew, like, I mean, from the moment I got there, there's girls who already know each other, they're already friends, and you're not quite sure like where you're going to fit in. And I think for me, because I always, you know, I come from the background of speaking on stages and kind of being in front of the camera and kind of knowing uh, just the game of what that looks like. I kind of knew going in like that was could be the case, but I was really surprised at how welcoming everybody was.
Yeah.
It wasn't, to me, it didn't seem like it was a catty thing, but I felt like it was, and I don't know, maybe it was just me, maybe you had a different like look at it or perspective of it. I felt like for me, I just wanted to stay in my own lane because I knew I wasn't the seasoned girl. I knew that I was going up against girls who had done this their whole life. So I guess to kind of stay in my own lane, I was like, I'm not trying to compare myself to you or the girl to the left of me, to the right of me, to the girls who, like, because I would have gotten in my own
Yeah.
head. You know, I would have like self-sabotaged. So like for me, I was like, no, I haven't done this before, but like I don't need to be her and I don't need to be her. I just need to show up as me. And that was enough for me to just stay focused.
Right. Okay. So let me ask you, how did you win? I mean, it was your first time, and that's, you know, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna have a real conversation here
Yeah.
because I feel I can have that with
Yeah.
you. A lot of people were saying that Sandi won because she's blonde. She is the ideal look. Sandi won because she has money. Sandi won because she knows all the right people, like Grant
I didn't know
Cardone.
anybody in the space. I didn't know anybody in pageantry, so I don't know where that comes from. But like, look, at the end of the day, I had been doing the work years before I ever competed. Right? I mean, when I went in, I was already, like I mentioned, speaking on stages. I have my book. You can kind of see it behind me.
Someone is asking, what is the theme of your book?
So my book is called Slay Your Day. Hold on, it's right. I got the cup, Slay Your Day. Actually, Mrs. International, who won this year, got me this at an event that I spoke at, which is a pet. It's really cute. But the book is called Slay Your Day, and it's all about how to. And by the way, I was like 6 or 7 months pregnant on this cover. Thanks to Photoshop, you can't really tell, but it's Slay Your Day, and it's how to essentially become more productive, unlock that next best version, your full potential of yourself. Again, it's something I'm striving to do every single day. And it's tools and strategies. It's like not the fluff on like, oh, just wake up happy, because I don't think anybody does that. It's like how to not only get yourself moving in the right direction, but keep yourself there. Because
Right.
it's hard when there's distractions and kids are getting sick and you're not on a normal schedule. Like, it's easy to do it when you are on that normal schedule, normal life. It's really hard to do it when things happen. And 99% of the time, most of everybody's life, there's things that happen that aren't expected. So it's the actual tools and strategies on how to be productive, move the ball forward, and focus on the goals and the needle moving activities that are going to get you there.
How did that make you feel? All the rumors about why you
I
won.
didn't even
Honestly.
honestly, I didn't even listen to them. Like, you were just saying a few of them now, and I'm like, I don't even like. I feel like for me, I don't like, and this might be part of the reason why, I just block it out. Like,
Okay.
I don't even bring it into my world because who cares? If that's your opinion, like that says more about you than it does about me.
Right. Right. How did you feel when you won? Like, what went through your
Well, first of all, I
head when
was
they
shocked.
called
You
your
were
name?
standing right near
I
me.
was standing there. I couldn't believe it.
You saw my face. I was shocked because, again, I knew that there were also so many incredible women that have been doing this for years, and I'm standing up there and I'm like, my jaw was on the floor. I mean, the pictures, like, we've seen them, they're on the floor. I was just as shocked as anybody else, but I also felt like, you know, and I'm trying to like even think back to that moment. Like, I think my biggest thing was like I had never competed, and that's why I was so in shock. You know, like I didn't know how the game was played, like, because I had never done it before. I was just going in, being me, and that was like for me, that was my superpower. But it could have been easily the thing that held me back. It could have easily been the thing that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm scared because these women are so intimidating and they've done this so much. It could have been the thing that like like sabotage me.
Right.
But instead, I used it as fuel because like I don't need to be them. I just need to be Sandi, who's here to talk about how she's going to help more women in the world.
Sandi, coming from the world of life coaching and public speaking and working with women in the personal development side into pageantry,
Mm-hmm.
did pageantry change your perception of what beauty pageants are all about? Because there are negative
Yeah.
stigmas. You know, all the women are dumb, they're egotistical, they're, all the negative stigmas, which,
Yeah.
is not true.
Yeah.
But how did that
Well,
change?
for me, I didn't realize how much work was going to go into it. Like, I mean, I went in again, already having the book, the podcast, the client, like I already had all these things, but I didn't realize like number one, the preparation to get there. I hired a coach. I mean, I was already doing media, but I kind of took it to the next level and like really turned on the faucet because I was like, okay, if we're going to go in, we're going in. We're not just going to dabble here. It really, really impressed me how accomplished all these women were and how much family was so important to them. Like for me, that is the most important thing for me. And when I saw how not just beautiful, because it's easy to be like, oh, they're all beautiful women. Like you can see that. You don't have to like we all see that, from stage.
Right.
Everyone's beautiful. But to see how accomplished they are, how much they love their families and prioritize their families and their businesses and themselves, like that really surprised me because I feel like coming from the world of it, the world of like personal development and seeing that kind of day to day, it surprised me that these women were like consistently showing up like who they said they were, right? Like they're not just there with a pretty face like to win a crown. Like they're doing this regardless if they have that crown or not.
So now you're coaching women in pageantry. What is the formula? What you are now saying that you train winners, and I believe one of your clients just
Yes.
won Mrs. International.
Yes.
So if you have the winning formula, Sandy, what is that formula? Spill the beans.
Okay, so what I'll tell you is this. I went into Mrs. International like clean slate, did not know what I was doing, and I was coachable, right? I didn't pretend like I had all the answers going in. I didn't pretend like I knew what I was doing because I didn't.
Right.
I did not know how to win something because I had never done it before. I didn't have the stats. I didn't have the experience to back it up. Now I went in there. I followed my own formula and won. There was one time. I then worked with because I didn't coach anyone. I didn't do any one-on-one coaching the year that I was Mrs. International. I didn't do any of that. The next year, I had clients that I had in a group coaching program, but I only had one Mrs. International client that I took on as a client, and she won. Okay, so yes, there is a recipe to this, but you have to be coachable. Like she also went in. Megan went in saying, look, I've never done this before because she was also a woman.
It was
like
her
myself.
First time as well?
It was her first time. Never was in a pageant before, but she, like myself, was coachable. She was willing to say, I don't know what I don't know. Show me, show me the way, show me how to do this. So there's not like one thing. It was all those calls that we had. It was the consistency of showing up and putting in the work. Like it's not just, okay, Cynthia, there's this one thing that you can do and then you can go and win. It is being coachable along the journey. So when you get to nationals, you have put in that work to show up to already be Mrs. International before you have the crown and sash.
I'm still okay. I understand all of that. And we went through that. I mean, I did it. I did the same thing. However, there are women, again, they are accomplished. They are consistently participating in their platform, their community service. They walk eloquently. They speak eloquently. The gowns are at international are drop dead gorgeous. However, you don't win. What is
Okay,
it? Like
let me ask you
if you
something.
were coaching me, you know me a little bit. What would you say
So
to
this
me?
is something that I see with women and whether it's in coaching, with pageantry, or in life, okay? A lot of times, whatever that end goal goal is. It could be a goal weight, it could be a crown, it could be whatever. Pick a goal, anything. Women want it. They want that thing. They want it. They want the crown. They want the end goal weight. They want a certain look, whatever. But there's life happens and they're willing to negotiate their goals, right? They're willing to say, well, I put in the workout yesterday, so do I really need to do it today? Well, I worked with my coach last week, do I really need to work with her this week? Well, I showed up and I did that interview yesterday, do I really need to do one today? My question would be, are you being consistent in your efforts to get to that goal? Because yes, these women are all doing the things. They're putting in the work. But when it gets hard, are you showing up and putting in that work really, truthfully, every single day? Not when it's comfortable, not when it's easy, not when it's convenient, every single day. Because I will tell you, there were times when my babies were asleep and I was downstairs doing my walk, when I was going and having meetings, when I got uncomfortable. And I think one of the things is that we really got to get honest with yourself, because even for me, I mean, there's things like I'm always setting new goals and I'll find myself, I'm like, oh, am I being honest with myself? Am I being real? Did I want to get to that goal? Am I making sacrifices? Am I making the sacrifices I need to get there? Or am I slipping and am I not showing up where I know I need to? So what I see a lot, and now that I've been coaching this past year, a lot of the times I see women make excuses up until the point when they know, like, oh no, it's right around the corner, the goal's right there, now I'm going to get serious. So it's like there's excuses up until the point when they can't make the excuses anymore. So it's like, and again, I'm seeing this I'm telling you from firsthand experience of working with some of these women. It's like they want it when it's convenient, not I want it and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get there.
Okay. Tell us about Slay Your Day.
So Slay Your Day is my brand. It is my brand. It's my business. It's my book. It's my podcast. It's my YouTube channel. And my goal in life is to be able to tell women, like, you get to have it all in your career, as a wife, as a mother, as a woman in general, like whatever you want to have, doesn't matter. Like everyone's desires and goals are different, but as a woman, we have a lot of obstacles to overcome, right? Like we've got the house to run, we've got the career and calls and emails to make, also while trying to make dinner and pack the kids' lunches. And in most cases, not all, but in most, right? So for me, my whole goal and purpose of Slay Your Day is to show women how you can have the tools and the resources and the strategies to be able to accomplish your goals with these tools in your tool belt, right? Because I look at it like I'm a very visual person. So it's almost like having like one tool. Maybe it's a hammer, right? You got a hammer in your tool belt and you're like, I know how to do this one tool. I'm bringing to the table, here's the hammer, here's the saw, here's the screwdriver, here's multiple tools and resources that you can use to be able to show you how to make it a little bit easier so it doesn't feel so hard all the time to reach the goal, to be whatever it is that you want to be or achieve. Because in my opinion, before I had these tools and resources, and especially when I was postpartum and I just had my babies and I was trying to figure out how to run my home and run a business and now be a wife and a mom and wear all of these hats, it was really challenging. Like, I mean, that was part of what I talked about in my interview and my platform, through pageantry, was like, I had a really hard time postpartum because I didn't know how to show up as the woman that I wanted to be in doing all these things. And a lot of the women that I work with, it's the same thing. Like they feel like they lose themselves, but also in losing yourself, you feel like you can't go accomplish your goals because you have everybody else to tend to before you get to you. So Slay Your Day.
Yeah. And you know what? I believe this conversation is so important. I intentionally use the word let's frolicking. I have to do that because as a housewife who owns a business, who is involved in the community, who has different hobbies and activities, my priority is running my home.
Right.
And it's easy to get burned out. Yeah. However, a lot of people think that homemakers, housewives stay-at-home moms, that we're lazy and we have nothing to do. And you know, Sandy, I always come for the women empowerment movement. I'm like, there's no women empowerment. There is no female empowerment until the boss women, until the boss ladies respect the housewives and the
Yeah.
homemakers.
Yes.
Because our work is
Yes.
equally
Yes. I
important.
tell my husband all day long, I'm like, it is easier for me to go to work, although I work from home. It's easier for me to go to work and be in work mode than it is to be in mom mode. Because you know what? My boys, they could something could happen. I don't know. They don't their water cup isn't the same, or they spill something, or what, and the emotions are like this, right? Like
Yes.
that is not predictable. There's just nothing easy about homemaking, being a wife, being a mom. Like there's so many different variables that it's like work. And I've heard very, very successful entrepreneurs, men say this, that they have said that is the hardest job on the planet. Like they
Yeah.
could never do it.
Yeah.
And again, very highly successful. I mean, if I said their names, you'd be like, oh yeah, I know who that is. But like, and to give, women credit, they were like, I could never do that job. It's the hardest in the world.
Yeah. So your system, Slay Your Day, helps women manage these responsibilities without being burned out.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly. And look, it's for me again, it's never like there's just one formula or one answer. It's giving yourself multiple again tools in your tool belt to be able to say, look, today might be a hard day, but and I'll give you an example of one of these tools that I talk about in the book, but it could be like, today's a really hard day, but instead of focusing on 50 things on my to-do list, I'm going to focus on 3. And not 3 things in business and not 3 things at home, but 3 things total that I know I need to get done. And if those 3 things get done, today was a success.
I love it. I do 5 things every
Okay.
day. 5
So
things every day. And you know what happens? Once those 5 things are done, whether it's business, whether it's personal, whether it's in my home or with my husband, 5 things. By 1 o'clock, it's like, I have nothing to do. but
you
but
know,
but those 5 things were strategic, and those 5
right.
things, they each are leading you to those specific goals, correct?
Right, exactly. I actually have a podcast that's coming out tomorrow. So it's the podcast and it's the YouTube channel. And it's the whole episode. And most of my episodes are 30 minutes or less because I want women to be able to listen to it while they're like on a commute to work
Okay.
or doing their hair and makeup or like getting ready in the morning. So it's not like an hour long. It's 30 minutes. You're in and out. And you have takeaways. And in this podcast, I talk about what are the tools, like what are the activities that we can do to work smarter, not harder, and actually do less, but get more done. So that's I'm kind of teasing tomorrow's episode, but so how to work more strategically and actually get more done in less time. And it's not multitasking because I hate multitasking.
I hate that word too.
Anyone that tells me they're multitasking, I'm like, don't do it, don't do it. But it's smart multitasking where they're actually being more productive and they're not taking away from the thing that they're doing.
Yeah, multitasking to me sounds like you're being random.
No,
You're just
yeah,
being
you don't like
random. You're just randomly
multitasking.
doing things,
Right,
right?
right, because you're not giving, like, if something is of importance, you're not going to do 2 things of high importance at the same time. It's just not going to be done successfully.
How does this support mental health? I know you are an advocate for mental health
Yes.
as well. Does this support
Oh,
that? You're working with mental
absolutely,
health?
absolutely. Because look, if you are not good, let's talk to women right now, right? Like women who you have your business, you have your goals, you have your family maybe. If you are not good, and they say this about, if your cup isn't full, how do you pour into anyone else? But if you mentally are not well, and you feel like, because again, I went through this when I was postpartum. I felt like I couldn't even get out of bed in the morning. And I was like, how do I even, make the bed? How do
pardon
I
me.
take a shower, get a hot cup of coffee? Like I literally it's crippling. So if your mental health isn't good, how are you going to go help the baby or your kids or your spouse or anybody else? It's impossible. So mental health is such a huge aspect and component to this because if you're not good, nobody else in your environment is going to be good.
Wow. So you talk about working with mental health in order to help these women manage their lives, manage their homes, manage their businesses. And mental health, you believe, is very important in these areas.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if your mental health, I mean, again, it doesn't matter what your career is or what your, let's say, role in the home or the family is.
Right.
If you're not good, nothing else is going to be good. And I don't even mean good, but like functioning, right? It's like you can show up and maybe for a couple of days, like put on a
I
face
was
or a
gonna, yeah.
mask or whatever, you know? But if you're not good, like it's going to show. And it's going to show in the way that you show up. It's going to show in your body. It's going to show in your health. I mean, like we're talking about mental health, but I'm talking about like physically,
Yeah,
internally, it's
it
going to start
starts
showing up.
it starts showing up. I believe this is very important for women, whether it's pageantry or, the mom who is at home or the
Yeah.
career woman, because in this world of being booked and busy, everyone wants to be booked. Not everyone, but most people are
Mhm.
promoting this booked and
Right.
busy,
Like
this
hustle.
yeah, this hustle
Yeah.
lifestyle and just go get it.
No.
Even the pageant girls, I mean, you just completed a pageant, whether you won or not, and then you go and sign up for another one. What are
Yeah.
you doing? It's
Yeah.
like, relax.
Yeah.
Relax,
Yeah.
take a breather,
Yeah.
right? But what
Recalibrate.
is this, Sandy? Why
Yeah.
is everyone so like this hustle and thing? Like,
Yeah.
I can't even find the words.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's definitely something to be said for setting goals and going after them, but do it strategically, right? Like figure out like whatever that big goal is that you're going to go after. Let's just say it's pageantry for the sake of this conversation. Like give yourself a minute to recalibrate. Like give yourself a minute to like get back to normal life and then also course correct. Like
Course correct.
is that still the goal? Right? Like, do you still want that? Are you going after something just because you want a crown and sash and say you won? Like, what's the purpose behind it? You know? So I think that a lot of times we're chasing, I think in Buddhism there's a word for it. It's like you're chasing that invisible carrot, you know? But it's like it keeps moving and you're like, why am I still chasing something that I'm not quite sure why I'm doing it?
It takes a lot of experience to be able to pull away from that. It takes a lot of wisdom to pull from that because I am a recovering hustler.
Yeah.
Trust
Yeah.
me, I can tell you, I can come up with a stream of income like this.
Yep.
I can do it,
Yeah.
and I have to intentionally, again, that's why I use the word I'm frolicking,
Yeah.
to remind myself, Cynthia, relax,
Yeah.
chill out. It's
Yeah.
happening. Enjoy the
Yes. It's a
process.
season. Like
It's
I really found that through, the seasons of pregnancy and like I said, postpartum, like I beat myself up so hard when I was in postpartum, especially with my first, because like again, you don't know what you don't know. And it was all new to me. By the time I had Jordy, I had it figured out because I was like, I'm not gonna go through that again. But I learned a very good, valuable lesson. But I learned that with Jake, who is my oldest, and he's 7 years old. I felt like I needed to still be on, and I felt like I still needed to like go, 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 and even like the week after I gave birth, I expected my body to look a certain way again, and I was so hard on myself. And it wasn't because I wanted to look a certain way then. It was the expectations that I kept putting on myself. Like I had to do that or be that instead of just letting that season be that season, of recovery.
mm,
Let it be. And I've talked about this on stages. And I think that this is the one thing that I feel like a lot of women have come up to me and said this really has resonated with them. And it's allowing your life to have seasons. You're not going to be in growth mode 365 days of the year. Like
yes.
if crops were to do that, they would die and we would have no produce. I mean, everything has a season, So it's like, what season are you in? If you're in your growth, go, go, go season, honor it, but don't live there forever. That's how people burn out. I mean, that's just not, you can't sustain that.
Yeah.
So it's okay. It's okay to have seasons where you're planning. It's okay to have seasons where you're like, what's my next move? And recalibrate and figure out like, okay, what do I want to do next? And if the goal has moved, that's okay.
Wow. Yeah. It's like being present, being
Yes.
present and honoring your now.
Yes.
I get so many people that come up with ideas. Cynthia, you can be doing this, you can be doing that, you'll make so much money.
Right.
And Sandy, I'm like, I don't want to. And it's
Yeah.
like, are you kidding you? I'm like, why? Because I'm going to have to manage people. Why? But you can hire someone to do it. I don't want to
Right.
hire people because I have to manage them. And then
Right.
I'm going to be disappointed. And then if I'm disappointed, then I'm going to have to do it.
Yeah.
And
And
I
it's
don't,
like, what does Cynthia want? Like at the end of the day, what do you want? Because that person doesn't have to be the one that organizes it, manages it, fulfills it. So it's like everyone can have all these great ideas for you, but it's like, but what do you
what
want?
do you want? What is suitable for you in this
Right.
season? Like you
Exactly.
said, in this
Exactly.
season, in
Yes.
pageantry, do you still want to compete? Or
Yeah.
do you want to coach? Or
Right.
do you want to direct?
Right.
Or do you want to have a podcast?
Yeah.
There are so many other things that you can do instead of running on stage and trying to lose 20 pounds and getting disappointed when it doesn't happen or
Yeah.
when it does. It's just, I don't know. I believe that we maybe need to take a look at the word success again
Hmm.
and redefine that,
Yeah.
what success
I think
means.
that's an individual question and answer, like
Yeah.
that's going to be to each his own what that means, because like you might be in a different season than I'm in right now, like I just got off of a season where like, and it just happened to be summer, where I was like thinking, oh, my kids are going to be in summer camp and I'm going to have all this time to be in my business. Well, guess what? That didn't happen. So I had to manage expectations and say, you know what? I'm more heavily in mom mode right now because that's what my babies need. And that's probably what I needed too, to be able to just spend more time with them and be intentional. And I can't beat myself up that I'm not in my business more because my babies and my family need me. Like that is my number one priority, So I think that it needs to be talked about more, because when we talk about mental health, I think people are scared of like, well, what if I admit that I need to take a minute? Or what if I admit that I
Yeah.
need a break? Like that's okay. And to talk about it is okay.
Yeah, it is okay. And it is okay to take a break. It is okay to take a nap. It is okay to
Yeah.
be tired.
Yes.
And it is
Yes.
okay for you, Sandy, to tell us what the winning formula for international.
I love it.
What
I
is
love
the
it.
winning? All right, Sandy, I'm not going to keep you any longer. For the women, because I have followers from all around the world,
Amazing.
and we want to encourage them to participate in beauty pageants or move forward with their goals. What would you say to those women who are thinking about competing in a beauty pageant?
Yeah.
And why, if you would recommend international, and why?
So obviously, I call them my international family because not only did I have such a great experience with them, both as Mrs. Florida International and as Mrs. International, I believe in the cause. I believe in what they're doing and how it empowers women and families. And that is at the core of who I am and what I believe in. And I would say that if you are considering competing in a pageant, whether you've never done it before or if you're interested in international organizations specifically, is figure out who you are first, right? Like, what is it that you want? Just like we're talking about. What are the goals that you have for yourself? Not what your husband wants, not what your kids want, not what your parents want for you. Like, who are you and what do you want? Because you will come to the table with so much more power and knowledge about who you are and
Yes.
what that purpose for you is that you want to fulfill, not because of someone else's goals and dreams, but for your own. And then find the right organization that aligns with that, because that's what makes a home run team, right? Like if you look at the pageant international organization, once you win, it's a team. It's not like a one you playing on that field by yourself. You are there with a team, and it is a family. Like I said, I call them my international family. So figure out who you are first and what it is that you want, because when you align that with another organization or brand or business, whatever it is, that will become the jet fuel that takes you to that next level. But you got to know what you want first, because only you can tell yourself and be honest with yourself first in order to put you in a position to do that.
Give us a nugget for stay-at-home moms and even career women,
Yeah.
business
Okay.
women.
So stay at home moms, because again, I'm thinking back to that chapter, give yourself grace. I know it's so hard to you know, be in that stage, especially if you have newborn babies at home or if your kids are a little bit older and you're in the thick of it and it feels like the diapers never end or the breastfeeding never ends or the housework never ends. Like that could be at any point or any age. I think that, you know, take yourself out of it a little bit and just know, again, back to seasons. It's a season and it's going to pass and you're probably going to miss it when it's gone.
Yeah.
So just know that it's a season and it doesn't last forever. And then for my career women, like what I would say is kind of along the same lines is like, what do you want to go after? And if you're someone who is always looking to kind of, you know, push yourself out of your comfort zone and go for that next thing, just make sure it aligns with that next level of who you're becoming. You know, because I think it's easy to say yes, like you're saying, Cynthia, yes to opportunities, but like, is it the right opportunity for you and where you're going and who you're growing into?
Someone says sometimes as a mom it feels selfish to compete. I think that's one thing I am struggling with.
So I would ask, like, if it were me and if I was like kind of working with that, I would look at that and say, like, is this making me a better person, a better mom? So I get
Mm.
to show up. Because, like, for example, when I'm with my kids, I'm 100% with them. Baking or riding bikes or playing soccer, like whatever it is, like I am with them in that. But then when I'm in pageantry or I'm working in business, I'm 100% in that. I get to be the best mom because like for me, when I did pageantry, that was something I wanted to do for me. And my family got behind me and they supported me
Yeah.
the same way I would do that for them. So I would just look at that and say, okay, it might feel selfish when I'm doing it, but is it fulfilling something for me that's going to make me feel amazing and be that best version of my mom self or my wife self or my woman self that I can be?
Right. And that's the best version because you get to elevate in fitness, in the way
Yeah.
you present yourself, in your community service, and you get to make good friends. Like I've
Yes.
made a friend in Sandy. Sandy, do you remember the night before? I think it was at rehearsals or
I
preliminaries.
at prelims, right?
Yes, and I came to you and I said, Sandy, you and I and Singapore, we're leading in People's Choice. Remember that? And you
Yeah.
were like, good luck with that.
I said that.
But you said it as a joke. Like, good luck with that. And then
Oh
so I
my.
I ran on my phone and I called my husband. I'm like, Sandy said, good luck with that. Fine, you better get people to vote for me. It's so funny.
That is, but I'll tell you the one thing for sure that I know, like when you build a community, you build a rally of people around you. And it's like, I think for me also, you know, look, I think you could agree with this. Like you get a competitive side, right? It's like I've got there's stage Sandy, but then there's like real life Sandy.
Right.
Stage Sandy is not like it's the same. It's like almost like Beyonce. Like she has her Sasha Fierce. Like when she gets on stage, she like turns it on
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
her
yeah.
like stage presence, you know. But it's not the same like woman she is. I'm sure when she's with her daughter or when she's like at home in her sweatpants, like chilling, you know.
Right.
So I think that that's the other thing about like being on stage and pageantry. The thing that I love is like you get to like get yourself to this elevated level where you're like a different zone that you're
Yeah.
in, you know? And I
Yeah.
think that again, being on stage and fulfilling that, like that's something I've always loved doing. I've always loved being on stage and in front of a camera. So like
Yeah.
for me, that also feels like home. And if I wasn't doing that, I feel like I would be neglecting like a part of me that was like yearning for that.
You know, it took a lot for me to admit I like being on stage and being in front of the public because you can get criticized for that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we do get criticized for that,
Yeah,
but
of
I
course.
absolutely love it. And as far as being competitive, you know, I always heard the word that there's sisterhood in pageantry, and I didn't believe it because I'm new
Yeah.
to pageants as well. And I said, how can we be competing against each other and have a sisterhood? But when I met you, I mean, immediately, you know, you said to me, yeah, well, good luck with that or go for it. But you said it in a way as encouraging, like, go for it, even
Yeah.
though you were leading as well.
And I
So,
don't think we even knew who was like top one at that point or whatever. But I remember what I thought you were going to say was because I remember you and I connecting. This is what I thought you were going with that, where we were like, after this, we have to do something together.
yes,
We were like, we've got to connect. And because, like, I think when you see someone, like, you see someone who you you kind of see yourself in, you know? like you really like, to me, like you and I kind of like, I saw that in you. You know what
We
I mean?
would
I
kill
was
it.
like,
You and I on stage would kill it.
yes, yes. But we were talking about that, and I feel like that's why you and I really connected, was because I saw that in you, and I really admired that, and I do admire that. And I was like, we have to do something together. Like it just seems so natural, you know. And I don't. I was like, I don't know what it's gonna be, but like I would love to like connect with you, collaborate with you, and this was before I think even finals. Like this was
It
way before that, and you and I were
was.
talking about that,
It
you know.
was. It was.
Yeah,
Yeah, we just walked over to each other and just started talking. Like, you know
yeah.
what? We need to. Yeah.
Yes, and I honestly think too, like again, when you're in a room filled with so many beautiful, accomplished women, I think it's can be intimidating. But for me, I was like, I'm there to like to be there, be me, but I'm also like, why not make friends? Like you're there to, you're there, like you're there for a week, and you're connecting with these women, like you and I, again, like I feel like there was just something there that I was like, I connect with this woman, you know? And when I, so I'll be out at a restaurant or somewhere. If you have a woman that comes up to you and she's like, oh my gosh, you look so beautiful, or I love that shirt on you, I'll have someone say that to me, and I'm like, you know what? I need to compliment women more, because it feels so good when someone does
It
that to you.
does.
I'm like, man, I need to do that more, because I know how good that feels, and I need to get better at doing that. And I think sometimes we get so intimidated because a woman's so beautiful or accomplished, but it's like, just because you see this beautiful exterior, you never know what's going on the
I'll
inside.
tell you this quick story before we leave. You know the Bell Harbor area. I'm from
Yeah.
Miami as well. You're in Miami area.
Yep.
I was at the mall. Used to go. I think I was in my 20s. Used to go to the club all the time. And there was this tall, gorgeous girl who was always there, beautiful model. I was one of the promoters. So, you know how women are, like, we're eyeing each other. Well, one day I was at Bell Harbor walking, and she had, she was there with her little poodle. And she was like, hi, Cynthia, I like your dress. And I was like, you like my dress? I
Yeah.
like everything you wear,
Right, right,
right? And then we just started laughing. So it's like you said, like you would see another woman, instead of not saying
right.
something, and we became good friends,
Yeah.
right? Instead of not saying anything, compliment her. I mean,
Right,
say something, start the conversation.
right.
But it was so funny when she said something to me, because I
Yeah.
wanted to say something to her, and then
Exactly.
she said, so
Exactly.
yeah.
And I think if more women in pageantry, um, maybe it's because it's not, I don't know if this is talked about, but it's like I feel like you again, you're in this room with so many beautiful women, and it's almost, maybe it feels intimidating to say it, or like maybe there's a stigma behind it, I don't know, but I feel like that it connects you, because again, like you're only there for such a short amount of time, but the relationships that you make can last you a lifetime. Like
That's the
in
truth.
1 week, it literally, like you'll meet friends that you'll have for the rest of your life. So that's why, like for the newbies going in, like the girls that I had that were newbies going in, I was like, I know you're there for such a short amount of time, but you will meet some of your new best friends.
That's the
Yeah.
truth. It's true. Some of my best friends right now
Yeah.
I met in pageantry.
Yep.
Right. So, well, Sandy, I'm not going to keep you. I know you're busy slaying your day. I will, for those of you that would like to get in contact with Sandy, whether it's pageantry, personal development, career development, I will tag her when I reshare this live. Make sure you connect with her. And if you are considering competing in beauty pageants, connect with her. She still didn't tell me her winning formula, but you will get it one on one once you connect with her. Thank you so much, Sandy. And we have to do something together
Yes.
soon.
Okay, we're gonna connect. We're gonna figure out, because like I said, this is like at least 2 years in the making.
Yeah,
I
let's do it.
love it.
All right,
Thank
have
you
a
so much for
wonderful
having me,
day.
Cynthia.
You're welcome.
Have a
My
great
friends,
day.
that's it. You do as well. That
Thanks.
was Sandy Gland here, the author of Slay Your Day, Mrs. International 2022, here on The Crown Voice with the Queen of Pageant Talk, Reine Cynthia. Share this live with a woman who competes in beauty pageants. And today's program was brought to you by Reine Cynthia Luxury Cosmetics. I am wearing the Majesté Shade Lipstick, and they are on the website, LaurenCynthia.com. Have a wonderful day, friends. Bye.